I'm joined now by Julia Alvarez, the recipient of the National Medal of Arts from then President Barack Obama, author of today's Velshi Band Book Club feature, How the Garcia Girls Lost Their Accents. Welcome, Julia. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Ali, so much, and for that introduction. You make me want to read the book.
Well, that's the point. We want everybody to do that. Let's start with chapter 1. Yolanda visits the Dominican Republic and tries to reclaim her roots. She gets a flat tire while gathering guavas in the countryside. The book is so picturesque and textured. Then two men approach her. She begins to speak English and immediately tells them that she is American. Tell me why you set that scene for the rest of the book with the story.
Well, I haven't thought about that scene in a while, but I was thinking about the ways in which when you're an immigrant, you're this hybrid person, and your Americanness, your USA Americanness, because we're all Americans in this hemisphere, gives you a certain amount of protection in other countries, or so Yolanda thinks. And so when she is terrified, being a woman, being alone, because that's another theme in the book, it's immigration and life in a female body, she runs to that defense. She figures if she pretends that she doesn't speak Spanish and she's only her American self, she will be safe. So it shows, as you said, the nuance in what it means to be an immigrant. There isn't a clear-cut line. There isn't a right way and a wrong way. It's a constant fluctuating and complex situations that you find yourself in.
It's not even complex between different people or between different people in the family. It's complex within one individual on an ongoing basis, something you capture well in the book. I came away from it thinking a lot about this concept of being sheltered. The Garcia girls are literally sheltered in the Dominican Republic by the walls of the compound in which they live, the amount of family surrounding them, the confines of the island, and then in New York City, that all goes away. Let's talk about the dichotomy between their upbringing in the Dominican Republic and their life in New York City.
Well, they come to the United States, and it's the United States of the 60s, civil rights movement just getting started. And they at first resist and want to go back to, as they say, you open the cage and the little bird has stayed there so long, doesn't know what to do, so it doesn't want to come out. But once they feel this freedom to explore that complexity we've been talking about, they just fly. And this is a situation often with first generation, second generation immigrant families, that the parents are still part of the old world. There's a way in which they don't assimilate. And yet the new generations become part of the new culture. And that causes all kinds of divisions in the family and within the Garcia girls, because they feel both pulls. So I wanted to capture not a straightforward, they come, it's the American dream, everything goes fine, because that's not true.
Right.
And kids reading these books, immigrant kids that have been here all their life, to understand that complexity is important, so that they feel there isn't a right and wrong way to be, that it's a process.
It's a process, it's complex, and once you work it all out, it evolves into whatever your identity is. And ultimately, how the Garcia girls lost their accents is a story about identity. This is illustrated in the many nicknames that Yolanda goes by. Joe, Yosita, Yo-Yo, Yo, and when she says, quote, "I would never find someone who would understand my particular mix of Catholicism and agnosticism, Hispanic and American styles," end quote. Tell us about this. It's part and parcel of what you're doing. But Yolanda, in one character, is multiple identities.
Well, and I think that that's true for all of us. We carry many selves around. And if you say this is a novel about identity, identity's not a done deal. Here I am, just turned 73, and I'm reinventing myself as an elder. What is my identity? What is my work in the world? So it's an ongoing process. And you know what I do, Ali, when I need help negotiating it? I go to books. I read novels with older protagonists. I want to see films. I want to understand this landscape so I can find my way through it. And this is why books are so important to us, and especially to our young people who are doing that in a way consciously for the first time as adolescents, finding themselves, trying to figure out who they are.
This is amazing, because that is something that so many of our authors who are members of the Banned Book Club say to us, that there are people, the greatest reward for one of these authors is not making a bestsellers list or the money that actually doesn't typically come from being an author. It's the idea that someone wrote to them and said, I saw myself in your book, or I saw something about myself, or I saw a way of articulating the struggles through which I am navigating in your book. That tends to be the thing most authors tell me is the most gratifying.
Exactly. You know, it's interesting you say that, because I pulled this out right before coming on just this January. I get a 2-page type letter, and I'm not going to say the name because I don't have her permission, but from a student. She's in middle school, and she read Garcia Girls, and she said, you know, basically, my family has shared a lot of the issues with the Garcia family, including struggle with domestic violence. You know, the way you wrote sparked memories I haven't thought about in a long time. It felt too familiar. My heart pounding, my throat catching anxiety made me cry a bit as I read and reread it. I was painfully reminded of the long conversations with my mom after conflicts with my father. However, I came to the realization that the reason both Carlos in the book and my father acted the way they did was out of insecurity. This is a 13, 14-year-old girl, you know, and you can go to therapy for a lifetime to get this kind of bringing it home, you know. And I'm sure she's read other books in which there were, you know, conflicts with the father, but because she was Latina and she saw it play out, she made a leap, and it lit up her world. She understood. And that, I mean, I don't want to sound like I don't appreciate all kinds of readers and all kinds of you know, affirmations, but that hits truly home. That's me at her age, but I didn't have Garcia Girls to read.
Yeah, that's exactly what so many of our authors say, that they almost write it for their younger own selves. I want to read a small part of a New York Times review from back in 2018. Quote, I must have read hundreds of books, but I never encountered any character like me, Dominican, nerdy, an immigrant whose first language was Spanish. By the time I found Alvarez's debut novel, How the Garcia Girls Lost Their Accents, I'd already resigned myself to using books as windows rather than mirrors. End quote. I think that's really powerful. Wow. It makes, you know, decades after publishing this book in 1991, your writing is still, to some people, the first representation that they will find of themselves. Mirror, not window.
Oh, what a beautiful, oh, I got to steal that. Yep. Window, a mirror, not a window. And that's so heartening. And, you know, I wish it weren't so. But you're doing the job of keeping those books up there, so it does. You know, there will be those books available and not pulled off the shelves, because people are afraid of anything that is going to be disturbing or, I guess, other than what they want in their bubble. They should go back to the dictatorship that we came from.
Right. That's that. You want democracy, you want freedom, you want plurality and pluralism. This is what you get. You read books. Julia, thank you so much for all that you've done and for this remarkable book and all of your work. Julia Alvarez is the author of How the Garcia Girls Lost Their Accents.